The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the raw and uncensored Ambitchious podcast. I'm your host, the original HBIC, Katie Boyd. During our time here together, I will be instilling all of the strength, power, and determination you will need to use the very stones thrown at you to build your ultimate empire. We will redefine the word bitch from the derogatory to the acronym being in total control of herself. So let's adjust our crowns and prepare to live life ambitiously. Oh yeah, here I am, the original HBIC, Katie motherfucking Boyd.
We have way too much fun before this thing starts.
Oh my God, honestly, because Matt does the most fucked up shit, man. I'll tell you a little story about him later.
I was just staring up into space, and I'm like, you go, we're doing a podcast, and I go, oh yeah.
Matt was literally staring off into space with drool was dripping down the side of his mouth, and I was like, bro, we're doing a podcast. Like, you need to wake up.
Wake it up.
Well, here he is, Matt Babine. He's still here for another round of me abusing him.
I keep showing up.
He's my whipping cream.
I'm a whipping boy. Katie's whipping boy.
Matt was like, I'm just your whipping board. I'm like, that is not the friggin' phrase. Matt, doesn't he, Mr. Ed Sullivan, doesn't he always come up with these things and he
I don't know what the hell I'm
is it a smorgasbord? Is it a smorgasbord?
They're little Matt-isms.
Matt-isms. It's so freaking true.
I'm loaded with them.
Oh, you are loaded with a lot of things. Yeah, shit being one of them. So today's installment of the Ambitchious podcast is from Christine Keegan. Christine Keegan, what's up, Keegs? You asked about boundaries, and we are going to be talking about how boundaries can be a real bitch. But
They can be.
They really can be.
Oh, yeah.
But before we start, I always love to talk about our beautiful, amazing, incredible sponsor, Ayana, over at Prana Hair, Skin, and Lash. Tell her that this bitch sent you, and you will receive $100 off of your first microblading for your brows. Because brows are life, people.
For your brows.
For your brows. Brows are life. If you don't have no brows, bad thing happen, right?
Yeah.
Brows make your face. brows make your face, Matt.
I was just thinking about Sopranos. Remember the Sopranos?
Oh, no. Yeah, of course I do.
And his son came home and he went to a college party and they took his brows off.
Yes.
And Tony Soprano was like looking at him in the morning. He came home. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? He's like looking at him going, what the hell happened to you?
He has no eyebrows.
And he couldn't tell what it was, but he knew something was really wrong with his face.
They shaved him off, right?
They shaved him off. It was funny as a bastard.
Yeah. Well, see, if he had Ayana, he could have fixed those in like a couple hours.
2 seconds.
God. So I was laughing my ass off before we started the podcast because Matt, we got Chinese food one day, and I was having a reminiscent moment. We got Chinese food one day, and I was sitting in the car, and Matt walked out of the Chinese food place with the bag, and he was like, I know he was eating something, but he was trying to like not, because you get the Chinese food and you start picking like, I'll just have one crab rangoon on the ride home, right? Or I'll just have one chicken
Well, I
finger
couldn't even wait till the
home.
ride home. I was actually coming out of the store and I'm like chomping along, and then she's like looking at me, and then she starts imitating me like,
oh my God,
jackass.
he was just like walking. He was just like, and I was just like, what the hell is he freaking doing? He can't even wait to get home to eat, or even just get in the car. He's literally eating mid-walk to the car from the
I was
Chinese
like
food place.
fat bastard, right?
You really seriously were. You were like, get in my belly. And you wasn't even started. Oh, fucking Matt. Boundaries are a real bitch.
Well, I have to have some more boundaries with my Chinese food and when I should eat it.
Seriously.
Yes.
Well, you should have boundaries with my food too, because every time I have leftovers in the fridge, the next day I'm like so excited about them. And then I open the trash to throw something away, and the styrofoam is in the trash with my fucking leftovers. Every time.
Do you want it? And you said no, you didn't care.
Because I'm usually drunk when you ask me. You're like, do you want this food tomorrow? And I'm like, I want to eat that. And the next day I'm hungover and I'm like, I want to eat that. And then it's gone.
Yes.
So have some fucking boundaries, man.
I'll work on it.
Oh my God. So listen up, guys. This is a serious problem for so many people, including myself. You have really good boundaries. That is like one of your best traits.
I worked at it.
I look up to you for that. It's the only thing I look up to you for.
Except for the Chinese food.
Oh my
Yes.
God. Gee, I like, I'm like, I don't
I
even
have to
want to
work
eat
on
after
that
I see
boundary.
you do that. It's like, makes me want to puke.
What do you call it? An instant friggin' diet.
Don't ever eat next
Watch
to Matt
Matt,
either,
baby.
because the other day we were out eating and he was like chewing on something. He's like, and I'm like, Matt, we're at a bar and people are like scared. He's so freaking rude.
Oh God! How about when we eat?
Just close your mouth when you eat.
We
for
were
Christ's
eating
sake.
dinner with Jeremy and Michelle, and then Michelle and I split a foie gras.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she goes to go eat it. And I ate the whole thing because
In
it was
one
only,
fork
It was
bite.
only small, and she goes, "All right, babe, what happened?"
Guess we got to order another,
So
she says.
the joke is always what. I don't share any appetizers.
Michelle Brockman, I'm sorry about that. That was pre-Katie Boyd. I wasn't around then.
No, I didn't.
That was an ongoing joke.
I didn't have any manners. Yeah.
Still don't. Anywho, so boundaries are a real bitch, right? So boundaries are an essential part of any and all healthy relationships. Setting and keeping boundaries are a real talent and a skill, to say the least, especially for me. Unfortunately, for most of us, this was a skill we never were taught as children. Thus, bad behavior spilled over into our adult lives, and we wonder why all of our relationship issues are popping up like that carnival whack-a-mole. Do you know what I'm talking about, the whack-a-mole?
Absolutely, yeah.
The whack-a-mole comes up, you hit it in the head,
Yep.
and then 3 more pop up, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because for me, like, boundaries are one of these things that I'm like, okay, I have to really implement these boundaries. I have to really do this. I have to really do this with my boundaries. This is like an ongoing thing that I always talk about.
Right.
And I feel like as soon as you start doing the work on your boundaries, it's like God is like, oh, I'm going to test her.
Let's see how she's doing.
I'm going to test this bitch every time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you, and Matt's just going to talk. That's what he does best here.
It's a podcast.
Going to put his 2
I'm
cents
supposed to
in.
be talking. I don't want to be staring off into space.
Well, you were a couple
I
minutes
was,
ago, let's be
yes.
honest. So I'm going to give you the 5 ways that I implement boundaries and keep boundaries so that my life is more ambitious.
Awesome.
Are you ready?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
ready.
So number 1, you got to name it to claim it. People in our lives, unless they have supernatural power, right? And they're not everybody I know is a mind reader.
Right.
The issue many of us face is that we think that everyone should just know what we want and what our boundaries are. We have to use our voices and state what we desire. Remember, if we stand for nothing, we will fall for anything. Isn't that true?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So for me, like, I will get so mad. Like, I'll be like, what the fuck? Like, I'll give you, this is like such a petty example. So at my center
Yes.
in Hudson, New Hampshire, we have bathrooms, we have restrooms that are for everybody.
Yep.
And then I have a private one, in my office. And every so often, like, a client will just like walk from my gym into my office and like use my restroom. So unless you're like in my space with me and you say, hey, can I use your bathroom?
If you're doing a one-on-one.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, shit all you want.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. Piss all over the toilet seat, of course. But when people are like outside of it,
Yeah.
it does something to me. Like, I'm like, fuck. So for so long, I would come home at night and I'd be like, that bitch used my fucking bathroom. I don't know. This is like the pettiest
And then
example.
everyone thinks they can just go in there then. Because
then
it's like
they
a
see-
30-person class or something, right? Then anyone can just walk in there.
And then so they see like so-and-so go and use my restroom. And then they're like, oh, so-and-so using Katie's restroom. I can take a dump in there too, right?
It's almost like Pearl when she has to get territory. That girl must have been trying to be like, I run the territory now.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Or people will be like, oh, that must be Katie's favorite because she can use her restroom and all that,
It's
all
a whole
this
bunch
weird
of
shit, right?
Yeah.
So Matt was just like, Katie, write on your website and like on your thing, like about the bathrooms. So I started implementing the whole like restroom thing.
Yeah.
And it took a while for people to catch on, and it did. And every so often, that one motherfucker tries to use my bathroom, and I literally stand in front of my restroom and go, no, this is not for you. And like, at the end of the day, I'll be like, I'm so proud of myself.
It's good, right?
I'll tell Matt, like, we'll be having dinner. I was like, and I stood in front of my bathroom and I told her she couldn't use it. I felt so empowered. I know this is like so friggin' petty. Is this
good.
like a thing? People like, this is like a territory bathroom thing. Because sometimes like it's in the morning and I might have to like blow that shit up. And then bitches be going in my bathroom after being like, oh my God, it smells in there. And I was like, you ain't supposed to be in there anyways.
Yeah, that's right. It's my private smell. My privacy.
It always turns into poop talk,
Yes.
right, Mr. Ed Sullivan? It's like, that's what I do best.
He goes, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Always.
But you have to tell people what you expect out of them, or it's never going to fix the boundary.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I had one of my last spirit day a while back, and the same thing with spirit days. Like people, I'll be clearing the space in my center. I'll be like blessing it. I'll be doing all these things, and like people will just come to spirit day, and it's not even time for spirit day yet, and they'll just like walk into my gym like, hey, and then they just start like dumping all over me like all their shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? So the last spirit day email, I was like, here's the rules. You arrive. This is where you park. This is where you come in. This is where the bathrooms are. Blah, 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 blah.
It was like your best
and it was
spirit day.
my best spirit day ever because I said what I expect from people because people aren't mind readers. So you guys, you got to name it to claim it. You got to use your voice. Do you have the same type of thing with boundaries? No, you're perfect.
I don't have that, but I've worked on my boundaries, right? So,
what was your like thing? Or a thing?
Well, it used to be like, walking into the studio and start talking to me if I'm teaching a class or trying to get trying to get my attention during the class to talk to them about something, about their child.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I go, oh, this is a really good time because I'm actually teaching right now. So you'd have to come back.
So a minute, time out. People will actually like try to talk to you while you're teaching a class.
Yeah. Can I talk to you for a minute? And I'm like, I'm in the middle of teaching, getting kids ready for
that's
a class.
That's true too, because I'd have yoga sometimes and someone would be waiting in the waiting room and they would like open the door and be like, hey, I'm like, bitch, we're in Shavasana. Like, no one wants to hear about, your kid shit its pants at school today.
Right, because I want to talk to you right now, but you're in the middle of a podcast.
Exactly.
I don't do that.
Right?
That's right.
It's so true.
Right?
People just have big balls.
They do.
But I don't think they have big balls, but at the same time, it's like our responsibility as the leaders to tell people.
And people like rules. Like I know when I go to learn from a teacher, because I'm always learning from, martial arts or a business person or whatever. I respect it, and I want to know what their rules are so I can get the best out of the program or the best. Totally. But some people don't think like we do, right? So it's our job to kind of teach them and say, hey, this is how you come in. This is what you do.
Yes.
Like in a dojo, you have to bow.
Yes.
There's no talking during the class because the kids need to be able to be focused. They don't need to hear talking all these different things, right? I mean, right.
And you can try to set the rules up front, but you can never anticipate the level of stupidity and rudeness.
You can't. You just can't. Like for my last spirit day, I had a woman who just like kept talking, like sharing over sharing, and it was like, okay, like let's move on with fucking what we're doing, like whatever. But it's like I didn't anticipate that,
right?
But then I have to be the strong one and like redirect people.
Yes,
right, and that's hard too because you don't want to be like a heartlet. Well, I don't give a fuck about being a heartless bitch.
We had to write on the bathroom key, "Do not flush down the toilet."
Shut up. What do you mean? Are you
Somebody
kidding
did that?
me?
Oh, yeah,
Someone flushed the key down the toilet?
It was attached by a chain to a block of wood.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And it was in the toilet, jammed in there.
Oh my God. Somebody must have got a bad cigar or something.
Erin goes, I just touched that thing.
It's a new one, Erin.
It's a new and improved one.
This is a new one.
Not with fecal matter on it.
And now I think it's attached to a cigar box.
That can't go down the toilet.
That's not going down.
No. Holy shit.
But you can't anticipate these things.
Oh my God. What in the actual fuck? Oh my God. Number 2, start small. So we didn't just live our entire lives with bad boundaries and then one day think that we'll just overhaul every nook and cranny of our boundary-less life.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
We got to build upon our successes. So take something small that's been challenging your boundaries and put your foot down with it. Then you'll feel this sense of accomplishment and confidence, and you can move on to bigger and better boundaries until you're living your most ambitious life. A life with real boundaries is one of joy and freedom, and believe me, I know, because it took me over 3 decades to learn this shit, and I'm still working on it.
Yeah,
don't you think start small?
It's a constant thing, and it's really living with intention because you have to kind of put yourself. What if this happens when I'm running a class? Or when you're going to do something, or
tell them about like the attack. How you always say to me, are they going to come at night?
The question and answers. Questions and answers will be done at the end of the presentation, please, because we have to keep on moving through whatever. So it's always like, and it is. It's like I say to Katie sometimes, I actually go in there and it's like, you have to be a war general. Well, you have to be like, what if they come at night? When it's early in the morning on a Sunday, you have to be ready. What happens if they come out of a plane? What happens if they come up in the land?
Yes.
What happens if they start bombing us from the ocean? You have to go into it with intention to be able to protect your boundaries. And there's so many different boundaries. Like we always talk about, we have, a small group of people we hang out with. And because we've chosen these people that we're going to spend time with. Because if you don't have boundaries, people will just cling to you, right? And then you're just hanging around with a bunch of people that you may not want to. You may not want to hang out with, right? And it's like I have nothing in common with this person or this. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes. Well, we've had to do that with a lot of the people in our lives too, because I think. Because you and I are so fucking awesome.
We're
so awesome. Much fun to hang out with that everyone wants to hang out with us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then like I'd say to him sometimes, because we'd go hang out with we'd meet people and we'd be like, these could be like really cool peer groups.
Right.
And then we'd go out with them. And then we'd come home and I would like look at Matt on the ride home and I'd be like, those people fucking sucked.
Yeah, sometimes
like, those
it happens.
People sucked, right? Because then when you have like dinner with someone new and they start talking all this craziness, like I'm just warning everybody out there in Ambitchious land, I fucking hate to talk about politics, okay? I'm just warning everybody. So when you go out and have dinner with me and you talk about fucking politics the whole time, I will never, ever go out with you again. I will love you from afar. You can post all the shit you want on your Facebook about politics.
Yes.
You can get into fights with people on the street about politics, but we will not be breaking bread together, right?
No.
It's so true, but that's one of my boundaries.
You're good with that boundary. Because you
because it literally ruins everything.
I'm done. I'm not hearing it. I don't want to be around this.
I'm a under the table kicker to Matt. I'll just kick him and be like, "This is the last motherfucking time we will ever do this." Just put on a happy face, right?
Oh yeah.
And we've actually not talked to friends for a really long time, and then when they come to us and say like, "Did we do something to you?" and I'm gonna say, "Actually, now that you're asking, like for instance, like we had friends that used to fight at dinner all the time. They would just like get into these like bickering matches at dinner, and me and Matt like we fight, but we would never do that to someone. You're paying fucking $500 for a meal, and you're fighting the whole time. And I'm just like, can I have another fucking old fashioned, please? Make it a double,
Make it a double. You're driving tonight, babe.
Right? And I'm just like, fuck this. And I would say like, we can't hang out with these people because we have this limited amount of time on Earth. Like I don't want to be around people.
And we work so much when we do go out with somebody. It's like really like we plan it and we want to see them and we're looking forward to it.
Yes. And we've stopped hanging out with people before, and then when they come to us and we say, we really love you, but you guys motherfucking fight too much when we go out for dinner. It's not fun anymore.
Right.
And they'll say to us like, give us another chance. Like we won't fight. And then now we're like really close friends with those people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And it worked out fine. Yeah. So, but that was your boundaries. You had to tell them what was going on. And
I know.
All of a sudden.
But sometimes like I wait too long because I don't want to hurt people's feelings. Mm-hmm. And then like they usually get the hint and then they'll say like, hey, did I hurt your feelings? Like, did I do something? And I'm like, well, now they're asking.
You've been busy for 3 years.
Every time I'm busy. And let me tell you something. Just like people will figure out a way to pay for things that they want, they'll figure out, if people want to really fucking hang out with you, they will make time to hang out with you. Absolutely. If you're hang-outable.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't even know if that's a word.
It is.
I think I just
It's a Mattism.
It's a Katieism. All right. So number 3, be assertive. It's not enough to just create boundaries. We have to follow through. Just by telling someone respectfully that something they're doing is crossing a particular boundary can be the first step in the right direction. But you cannot let down your guard and after you start being assertive, right? Because this is what people do. And I say this to Matt, and you do this sometimes, like with Karina, right? You'll like create a boundary with her.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that kid boundaries are a whole different. Actually, I need work with that, see?
I'll tell you a little story. I'll tell you a little story about Karina Babine. Karina Babine, if you're out there listening, mommy loves you. But she's going to blow up your spot right now. So she has our Discover card number. She doesn't have a physical card, but she has our number.
Yes.
And her Uber is attached, sometimes is attached.
Sometimes when she wants to move it over and be like, I don't want to spend my own money.
Yes.
Maybe I can sneak a couple of Uber rides through without dad calling me and mom calling me.
Yes. So the first couple of times she would do this to the Uber. And we would text her and be like, Karina, you're using our fucking Uber. You're using the Discover again for Uber. She goes, oh, sorry. I just did it by accident. Okay. Honey, I wasn't born yesterday. I used to do the same shit to my parents. I know all the tricks and all the games, right? So then, like, she did it again. And Matt was like, you owe me how much money because of the fucking Uber.
Right. Because we're strict.
So then we're like, fuck this. We're canceling the credit card altogether. Right.
Yeah, but with Discover, it's all the same number. So I had to cancel. It's one number for all three parties. So we had to cancel the whole thing. I'm like, I'm texting her. I was pissed. I'm like, I can't believe that I have to do this right now and I have to be inconvenienced because of your spending.
Yes.
Right.
So then last week, she went wild on Uber and Uber Eats, which they like bring your food to your house.
Yes.
I was like, Matthew, here is a list of everything that's on that Discover card. I am going to switch it all over today, and you are going to call Discover. We had a fraudulent charge. We lost the fucking card. Delete that shit, and then send her an IOU in the mail.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And I said, this is all your fault because he creates a line in the sand, and then she like just tiptoes over it, and then he keeps moving the line, and I'm like, this is all your fault, so you can fucking deal with it. I don't give a fuck. I'm living my most ambitious, no fucks given life.
I did finally cancel the card.
Yes.
And new cards arrived yesterday.
Karina, you're a grown-ass woman. Stop using our card for your Uber.
You make a lot of money, so
and you're a rich bitch. Stop. Or give your mom some money.
Yeah, that's right.
Send me some money in the mail, bitch.
Start saving so you can take care of me.
We love you, but your dad, we're not blaming you. This is actually your dad's poor boundaries. Right?
Yes.
So you gotta be assertive. You can't just put a boundary in play and then keep moving the line.
No.
Because then people will be like, she has no boundaries. She's a pushover. I can just.
Oh, what is the saying that she used to say? It's better to ask for forgiveness than
permission.
Ask for permission. I go, I will kill you.
Have you guys ever heard this before? Is this like a thing?
Mm-hmm. You've heard this?
Oh my God. Did your daughter ever do that to you, Mr. Ed Sullivan?
No.
No.
Wow. I'm going to start comparing yourself. I'm very jealous.
I'm very jealous too. No, I know Ed Sullivan's child is much. No.
Yeah, because he would put her in that dark dungeon in the basement that you have. But it's true. You have to keep your boundaries going.
Yes.
Right?
Well, the boundaries are done now because there's no more card.
No shit. After I canceled that. Number 4, self-care is number 1 when it comes to boundaries. When we take time for self-care, it strengthens every other part of our lives. Mm-hmm. It makes our motivation to uphold our new formed boundaries stronger. And when you know that honoring not only your physical, but emotional and mental self-care will help you feel happier and healthier. And the happier and healthier that you feel, the more likely that you will protect your boundaries in the long run, right?
Absolutely.
So all these people are like running around with their asses on fire to keep everyone else warm, but it's not helping you live life ambitiously, right? If you take care of number 1 and you feel whole and you feel great, everybody else around you in your vicinity will also feel that energy. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to take care of yourself first, or you have nothing to give.
And if you keep flexing the self-care muscle, people will just know, like, we were talking the other day about, I don't remember, I think it was a sports star or a motivational speaker was saying, you cannot get me on the phone until 11 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Like I am doing all my stuff all day until like such and such a time.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then people in his life just know.
I'm not gonna
like, don't text so-and-so, don't call so-and-so because he's not going to pick up the phone like until 11 o'clock in the morning because he's meditating, he's working out, he's making his breakfast, he's doing things for himself.
Right.
So if you're a good role model in that way, then everybody else will fall in line. Mm-hmm. But if you make, and I do this sometimes, right? So I do all of my client like phone calls and discovery calls like on a Monday, right? And then the other days I have themed days. So like Monday, I call it like my connection day. Mm-hmm. That's my day where I connect with my people. Mm-hmm. Tuesdays is podcast day, right?
Yep.
Wednesdays is maybe whatever, okay? So I have a theme for every day. And every so often, I'll bend my rules and I'll do things on days that I shouldn't be doing them. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, unless I like love the person and they're like my friend and I want to hang out with them, that's one thing. But if it's like work and then I shift it into days that I shouldn't be doing that,
and I think people have a hard time with the work stuff because of, there's money attached to it and stuff like that. But then it really comes and bites you in the butt. How about the guy that was actually interviewed with Will Smith and he was going to be like Will Smith's either producer or something.
Yes. What was his name? Devon something or other. He's a producer. Yeah.
It's Will Smith.
Devon Franklin. That's who it was.
And he goes, and I really wanted to work with Will Smith, but I told him, look I don't work Saturday and Sunday. So you can give me whatever you want to do Monday through Friday, but no matter what, I will have it done because of his religion or because he does things with his family or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And he goes, and I just put that, and he goes, you know something? He really respected it because most people were like, it's Will Smith, I'll do anything. I'll take the job. I'll do this. I'll do that. And it was a lot of money attached to it. And that was really strong boundaries. He's like, this will not be happy for my family because how good of a producer or whatever I'm doing for you am I going to be if I'm miserable at home or I'm end up in divorce because
Let's have this conversation, Mr. Ed Sullivan.
I know Katie's got her boundaries. If I send her a message on Facebook, I know, well, she's not reading Facebook anymore today.
So I know.
I know.
Oh, you'll know.
Yeah. I know I'm not going to hear from her until it's social media time.
Yeah. Like on Sundays, good. I don't talk on the phone.
No. Yeah.
And then people will they'll text me on Sunday, and it's like, okay, Katie, you're choosing. If you're like choosing to text them back, that's your choice. And then what's happening is if you say, I don't answer the phone on Sundays, and then you start bending for certain people, then they're like, oh, that's bullshit. Yeah. She's not really, that's not really what she's doing.
Right.
Or I don't stay on social media all day because, I mean, frankly, it's not a place where I really want to hang out that much.
No.
Right.
But I do it first thing in the morning, and then I do it right before, I wind down for the night. And then like, like I don't sleep with my phone in the room. I don't sleep with my Apple Watch
Sundays usually no phones at all. Just like it's off. If we're going out, we're doing something. It's our convenience to, if we need to make a call or something happens or whatever, but it's not.
And like, people are such douchebags because they'll say like, "But you posted on Facebook today," and I'm like, "Bitch, there's apps for that. You think I'm playing? Think I'm on fucking Facebook? Everything is pre-scheduled. I mean, I'm not like a flighty,
right?
Like I have like an agenda here. People.
Boundaries.
Damn right.
I think people have unrealistic expectations, right? They'll send you a message on Facebook. Yeah, I saw it. I just didn't want to deal with it.
Oh my God.
Now.
Well, people will say like. They'll text me and say, well, I saw you saw my Facebook. I'm like, motherfucker.
But I'm not under any obligation to deal with it
right now.
I didn't ask them to send me that.
Right.
And the worst is when, like, and sometimes I do actually open it and say, okay, I'm going to get to that later.
Yeah.
And then some shit hits the fan and then I got to do other things.
Right.
And then just like, I meant to Facebook you back, but I just didn't.
Well, so I do it like sometimes I'll get in the car and I'll check my emails and I'll check something. And I'm not going to, if I'm going somewhere, I'm not going to do it until I get back to where I'm going or my next meeting or whatever. I may absorb the information, but then when I do my, my writing back, that's when I do it.
It's like, I'm sorry, your message about the Patriots was not in my top priorities today.
I know.
Especially when they're winning a lot of games.
Yeah, but that was their top priority. So it's like, what the hell is going on? It's so true.
That's true.
It's so freaking true. Number 5, be direct. No sense beating around the bush.
Don't beat around the bush.
Just saying beating around the bush. Doesn't it make you tired?
Sounds like
can you imagine what he beating around the bush? I'm beating around the bush. Like, what does that mean?
I used to get beat around a bush when I was a kid.
Same.
Dodging.
Yeah, absolutely. So not everyone shares the same boundary needs and preferences as you do. So you got to tell them what's up. We cannot expect everyone on the planet to feel the same way about things that we do or need, right? So the thing is like what my boundaries are that make me feel happy and safe and grounded, you might be like, that is the stupidest shit of all times. But it doesn't fucking matter because it's my boundary. It's my want. It's my need.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like we have different boundaries. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. There's certain things that I'm not going to do. Right?
Oh. Like any housework.
Any housework. I will not. That's my boundaries. I will not. I'm kidding. You've taken a couple
very
pictures
good
of me working.
dishwasher.
I love washing dishes. She hates it. I pick up that. So that's.
I mean, we have a fucking dishwasher. We're not like living in a third world country.
I like to wash it by my hands.
That's
That's
what you want to do. That's what you want to do. I washed dishes so many years by hand. It triggers all my issues.
Well, also it is. I can't stack the dishwasher for shit.
Oh, that's actually probably the reason why.
I have like 4 things in there. I'm gonna run it.
Like sometimes Matt will use the dishwasher.
In there and
oh my God, you're the worst. Sometimes he'll use the dishwasher and I'll go to empty it like the next morning and I'll be like, there's 2 forks in here and you ran a fucking dishwasher? Are you serious? Wasteful bitch.
I was a wasteful, ambitious one.
No, you were the opposite of ambitious, wasteful. So think about it, guys. Be direct. Tell people what your boundaries are. Just tell them. Who cares what they think about it? Who gives a shit if they feel the same way?
Yep.
It's your boundaries and it's about keeping yourself safe and it's about keeping yourself happy so that you can truly live life ambitiously. Right?
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Christine Keegan, email me. Thank you for, doing this because it was awesome. I think it's going to help so many people. You get your $100 gift certificate, themisfitclub@gmail.com. Thank you, each and every one of you guys that show up here week after week, and you are true crusaders for the Ambitchious movement. Like I always say, see you next Tuesday.
Good job, babe.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.